I've been a singer forever, and from since I can remember, like 6 years old, my mom bought me a record player with the Michael Jackson Thriller LP, and that was my first record. So that kind of saved me from the crap that I was dealing with as a kid, music.
Great LP to start with, too.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I grew up loving Michael. And so that influenced me to, my outlet was music and singing. So I didn't really notice that I could sing until probably middle school, and I love singing, but I didn't realize I could keep a tone or, hold a key, hold a note until then. And then I sang in high school a little bit, up into college choir. After that, I didn't finish college or anything, but I sang in the college choir.
So I was going to ask, did you do high school choir as well?
Yeah, did high school choir. I got most of the lead singing parts as a male in high school, being this other guy, John. And so it was cool. I felt like I had a higher voice back then. My voice has dropped substantially since then. Probably just gaining muscle and all the different things I've done in the last 10 years doing bodybuilding shows has lowered my voice. But I still sing in church, which is, a block away from me. I sing on the church choir now.
Nice.
And East River Fellowship, love that they gave me that shot, gave me the chance, because I love to sing. I know that you produce. Are you also an artist?
I am, yeah. I started kind of the opposite of what you were talking about. I started in about 5th grade. I got selected as Simba from The Lion King in my 5th grade talent what did they consider those back then? Assemblies?
Yeah. Talent show.
Exactly. And then I found out a little later on, as soon as my voice changed, I couldn't anymore.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Kind of the opposite of the.
So you couldn't sing anymore. So you're an artist. Are you rapping?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
I do a little bit of that too. Awesome. I've been freestyling a little bit since I was probably in my late teens. I'd go to parties and we'd stay up for hours writing raps, and then we'd crumple them up because they were shit, in the morning.
Weren't those the days, man? Those the days, brother.
Yeah. And but I held on to it. I actually wrote a rap for Red Robin Burgers, and I'll probably perform that for you at some point. Maybe not on the podcast, but it's pretty funny. I wrote about the menu items.
I love it.
And you had to freestyle to get qualified, and then you wrote a rap about the menu items, and then we went and performed it at Red Robin in Bend. And 10 people showed up. I drew a name. We all drew numbers out of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
I drew number 10, so I got to see everybody go. And then I went last. I brought my cousin Eddie to reverberate every third word.
Okay.
And then I brought a beatbox guy, and I ended up winning the competition.
I bet, bro. You went all out on that.
Yeah, for me and 21 of my friends to eat at Red Robin for free.
Yeah.
And so it was fun. Everyone loves that rap. Everyone asked me to rap it for them because it's so funny.
Oh, bro, I can't wait to hear that.
It was like 15 or so years ago. I still remember it like it was yesterday.
We'll have to do that as an extra.
Yeah.
The extra release to the podcast.
Exactly.
I know people are going to want to hear that.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you do. Like, where are you performing? What have you done lately? What do you like to do?
Sure. So I go with a group called the Trunk Mob. It's me and my partner, Rick Runick. Rick Runick is an HVAC specialist. He worked for Roth Heating and Cooling for a long time. And then now he's got his own glass shop. So he installs glass windows and doors and the whole 9 yards. It's a small shop, family-owned business. He's owning his own business now. Cool. So it's kind of cool. It's a couple of labor guys who are going out there. We do primarily West Coast G-Funk. So the old school stuff. I was lucky enough to be mentored by Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys. Yeah, I met Bushwick probably about 5 years ago now. We connected almost immediately. He stayed at my house personally for almost a month, short of a month. And we made all sorts of music together. He really kind of solidified what I'd always known. I was, like you were mentioning, freestyling used to be kind of that thing, right? Freestyling used to be the only way that you could be creative inside of rap, because having a recording studio and having all the stuff like what we have right now sitting in front of us, that was millions of dollars. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, the equipment just wasn't affordable.
Yeah.
And this big shift happened to where, home studios started to become the thing, distribution and all of that started to go to basically paid services, subscription services, where things like DistroKid, CD Baby obviously was one of the first, CD Baby. And I can't remember the other one or whatnot, but they were kind of the TuneCore. They were kind of the top echelon at that point in time for being able to get out your own music. So that launched this whole movement towards home studios and recording yourself and going away from the audio engineer and the millions of dollars that you had to spend to be able to make a record, right? Yeah. So it kind of all culminated at the same time. I wound up running into Bushwick Bill right about the time that shift was happening. I was already an audio engineer myself. I went to PCC. I got my digital and analog audio engineering certificates through Don Thompson. Maybe shout out Don Thompson. Shout out PCC. But I got my analog and digital certificates through there. So I was already an audio engineer and I already had all my own equipment and all that. And then running into Bushwick really solidified the fact that I could be an artist and that I could do stuff on my own. Yeah. So now, fast forward, we've done songs with Project Pat from 3-6 Mafia, Spice One, good brother right there. Ooh, wow. We actually just minted on my cryptocurrency the first ever NFT from Spice One. Wow. It's actually Coolio, Spice One, and As Yet. Wow. So pretty big star power right there.
I'm actually, or Coolio, you said, okay. Mm-hmm. I was thinking Cool Nuts when you said that.
Yeah, no, shout out
he's my cousin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Shout out my brother Terrence. Man.
My
brother Cool Nuts. We just did a song with Cool Nuts and Drew Down and on an EA ski beat. It's called The Legendary Funk. Wow. So that should be coming out here soon. Maybe. I always like to hoard my stuff. I want to make all these cool records with these guys, and I almost hold them like trading cards.
That's awesome.
Yes, so basically that's how I got into music and all of that. I've done it since I was young, freestyle, did the whole block thing or whatnot. And as soon as I had the opportunity and had the affirmation from Bushwick, that's what really got me in the game.
So before you met Bushwick, you said you went to PCC and got your degree in, what was that again?
Analog and digital audio engineering.
And so you went on purpose to get that.
I did. Yeah. And what's the funny thing is I went there to learn how to produce and how to make beats and do stuff. And so I thought, oh, wow, there's an audio engineering program. Yeah. This will be exactly what I'm looking for. And then what I learned how to do was mic up guitars and play outdoor festivals. So it's pretty funny, your perception of things and then you actually get into it.
Yeah.
What it actually
That's good experience, though, to be able to mic up guitars, though, and do the festival thing for your own music, right?
Big time. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a little bit more than just that. I always like to make fun of it or whatnot.
Yeah,
he definitely taught us the inner workings of the DAW, how to use effects, how to, properly align vocals and, all the way to doing full-on instruments up to orchestra level. So when you're talking about miking and kind of doing individual effects on 30 to 35 instruments at a time, becomes a completely different scenario.
So where do you like to record at these days? Like, where do you have your own spot where you record your own studio?
Yep, absolutely. Like I said, the home studio thing kind of took off or whatnot. All that recording equipment got super affordable. Yeah. And so I went crazy with it. Yeah. I had the audio engineering background. I knew what I was looking for. So I have probably 15 different analog vintage synthesizers inside of my studio. I've got the whole 9 set up. I've got the Neumann U86 AI microphone and the Apollo, which is the best audio interface that you can get right now without going to an analog soundboard. I have an analog soundboard, but nobody uses that stuff anymore. So it's kind of a prop. It's very, very similar to when I DJ. I bring out the turntables just to show everybody, that we still got it. And then I wind up sitting there playing off my cell phone, right?
Sorry, random nerd question. Is that the synthesizer they use for Blade Runner?
So I believe they use the Prophecy, and don't fact check me. I know there's going to be podcast listeners out there like, wasn't the Prophecy? It was the Apollo. Could have been anyone, but I believe that was the Prophecy that they used on Blade Runner. And I do not have a Prophecy. Those are standard.
Dang.
So I do have a Trinity, which has Prophecy sounds inside of it, so I could make some Blade Runner sounding tracks.
Nice. So, who do you like to record the most of your connections? Like you said Cool Nuts, Coolio. Like, who's been the coolest experience in the studio And whose studio were you in? Like, that was the coolest experience for you so far?
I would say just because I've had the opportunity to work with some of my heroes, a lot of my heroes, I feel very blessed to have lived through the point in time when I did, on the map. I got to see the upcoming of rap, got to watch these guys really shine, and then now on the backside of it, I've gotten the opportunity to work directly with them because the music industry has changed into an independent market. So now you can actually get a hold of these guys and have them over and do different stuff. So I'll share 2 stories or whatnot that are kind of the big highlights in that affirmation.
Cool.
One of them was working directly with Bushwick Bill. That was at My G studio in the Mix Records. Not sure if you're familiar with My G. My G's a legend, absolutely inside of the game in Portland. Been around for a long time. His mixtape, The King of All Features, was the first time that I saw somebody locally really work with industry artists over and over again. I think he had Capadonna or Ghostface on that from Wu-Tang. I mean, Talib, just all sorts of different people who were on that. And that was long before me. So working with My G and having Bushwick in the studio, I actually got to write with Bushwick. I won't say I wrote for him or whatnot, but I got to write with Bushwick and really have that affirmation, like I said, of being a good writer and a good rapper and all of that.
Nice.
So working with him the first night when he was in town, we went over to the Star Theater to see his unveiling of the documentary. They have a documentary on Bushwick's life right now. It's actually still being just played at local film festivals and things like that. It hasn't actually been released, just in the absence of Bushwick. He passed away about 3 years ago now.
Where was he from originally?
Bushwick, New York is where his name comes from. He originally was born in Jamaica, though. He has major Jamaican roots. So,
nice.
Big up. And it's funny, I wind up working with a lot of Jamaican artists. I also got to work, had the fortunate opportunity to work with Lee Scratch Perry before he just passed away. And Lee Scratch Perry was Bob Marley's mentor, was the creator of Jamaican dub reggae music. So he was one of the first people to ever take reggae music and put traditional Western effects over top of the music. Into kind of the sound that you hear.
It's a very popular sound.
Absolutely. So it was an amazing experience to be able to work with Lee Perry as well. But so working with Bushwick in My G studio at In the Max Records on Powell, right there over top of the Ross Island Bridge. That was an amazing experience. One of the highlights of my independent career. The second one was working with Keith Murray from the Def Squad. So Keith Murray with Redman and Eric Sermon, that creates the Def Squad. He was one of Notorious B.I.G.'s good friends, just a legend inside of the game. The most beautifulest thing in the world is, one of the biggest hits out of rap music. I actually flew him from New York over. He stayed with me at my house for about 2 weeks. We filmed a pilot episode of a similar underground independent podcast type of thing. I had him over and we filmed an episode of what I called the Portland Pre-Funk. So I actually got sponsored by iFly, the indoor skydiving, as well as K1 Speed, which is right there next to Intel, the gas-powered go-karts. I had Keith Murray over or whatnot. We went over, we did the indoor skydiving, filmed the entire thing, Boston Films, shout out Packer Brown, filmed that entire thing. Then we went over to K1 Speed. I had the Antelope Fisherman, LFGM, Swivel Mandela, and his folks over there. We did an entire race. I got to interview Colin, who's the manager of K1 Speed. And then I went to Pizza Yaki, which was on Division, and we shut down Pizza Yaki. Had a live band, Fading Signals, which Fading Signals is actually a union band. Andrew Gonzalez from the union, from Local 48, is the bass player in there, and his son is the drummer, which is super cool. So it's a family band with a union member, and I got to have him there and play live inside of a restaurant on Division. And so,
that's awesome.
Super cool to see Keith Murray perform in front of a live band there locally in the show. We had Randall Wyatt out from Taking Ownership PDX. Shout out Randall Wyatt. We had Swiggle out. We had Fading Signals, had Pizza Yaki. It was absolutely
That's crazy.
Incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. My my funnest singing experience, I'll say, wasn't singing. Obviously it was rapping because it was Coolio. He came to Bend, and he was at Club 97, which is no longer a bar, but I was in the front row and I was rapping. So Gangsta's Paradise came on.
Mhm.
It was the number one song in the nation right then. And maybe not it was actually a couple years later that it was number one, but still a super hot song. Even the Cowboys were like rapping it, right? From Bend. And I was in the front row. I knew every word. I was rapping it louder, or probably as loud as he was, with a microphone and jumping up and down and like just so excited. And so he could hear me over himself. And he's like, to his guy, he's like, grab that guy. So the guy grabs me, the guy standing by him grabs me. Coolio throws me his own mic. And I finished Gangsta's Paradise for Coolio at this concert. It was crazy. It was before cell phones, so of course nobody got it recorded. But I've never had any fun experiences with artists other than Coolio, or not Coolio, Cool Nuts. My cousin, which I didn't even know was my cousin at the time.
Oh, really?
Me and my buddy Blaze were booking concerts at the Midtown in Bend, and we'd book Cool Nuts and DJ Chill to come perform. And I didn't even,
Steve.
yeah, and I didn't even know that Cool Nuts was my cousin, and I think Steve is too, because Steve's last name is Mitchell. And I'm a Mitchell as well. So him and Terrence were like close for years. I'm sure they still are. No, my grandpa passed away in Garden Grove, and I was at the funeral, and Terrence's mom was there. Okay. Terrence couldn't make it, but she's like, you probably know my son, Terrence. And I was like, I don't know, maybe, and she's like, he goes by Cool Nuts. And I was like, Cool Nuts is your son? Oh yeah. We booked him for shows. I've hung out with him. Like, that's crazy. Like, cause I never knew my dad's side of the family. And that's my dad's side of the family down in Garden Grove, California. So crazy way to find out that Cool Nuts was my cousin.
Such a small world, man.
Yeah.
Such a small world.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So Barb is his mom's name. And so, got to perform with Cool Nuts a little bit in Bend, but mainly what I did was I used to sing hooks for rappers, because I'm a singer. I like to sing. I love to freestyle and rap. I just never saw myself as a rapper, strong suit. More of a, everyone loved my voice for the R&B, the hooks. So, but
we have to get one in.
Yeah. So now my new like vision for myself, I love country music. So I'm going to try, because country's starting to incorporate rap. All these country artists are starting to freestyle, and that's what I am kind of feeling in my bones, in at the moment. So I get down on that microphone there, just kind of messing around with my voice a little bit. I do all different kinds of genres, but yeah, I'd love to like work with you, and maybe you can help me hone, what I'm feeling.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
So we're getting that for sure.
There's a lot of great country artists, country rap artists who are out there right now. There's an entire genre that's almost culminating. Guys like Jelly Roll.
Yeah, Jelly Roll is amazing. I just started listening to his stuff for sure. Yeah.
Best Believe. All of those guys are right inside of that pocket. And that's a big one. Philip Stengel Stengel's a local promoter. He's a national promoter. He'd be pissed if he said that. He is not a local promoter. I'm sorry, Philip. Don't come to my house. But he is a national promoter, and we talked about doing a festival, a Kudokan festival or whatnot, both virtually inside of the metaverse, and then also physically, and then having it be a country rap type of feel to it. Maybe have a little white out, have Jelly Roll out, and get those guys.
No, for sure. Let's do that.
Maybe even something like Kane or one of the big dogs inside the country, and kind of make that whole movement. Because I think with the absence of Bimart's Country Music Fest right now, that whole debacle, I don't know if you guys remember that. Basically, the person was siphoning money off of the top or whatnot, and wound up getting sued a couple of times.
For everybody.
Yeah, literally. And so with the absence of the Weimar Country Music Fest, I think that it'd be kind of cool to do a reinvention of that and bring a little bit of each.
Yeah, I agree. We need to get on that.
Totally.
So let's talk about crypto a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. You created your own crypto.
Yep. So
You alone, or were you with a partner?
actually, I had some friends with me. Of course, it's
Yeah.
always better with friends, right?
Yep.
So the cryptocurrency that we have out right now, our first token, is called the Kudoken.
Okay.
That's Kudoken,
Yeah.
like kudos times token.
Okay.
It was originally actually created in 2018, well before the entire height of everything and all of that, by a visionary, Jesse Sponberg. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Jesse's work, but Jesse ran for mayor originally against Ted Wheeler.
Really?
On an independent budget of $60,000 and won 40% of the popular vote.
Dang.
So he almost beat Ted Wheeler in Ted Wheeler's first year of trying to run.
Really?
So if Jesse Sponberg was mayor right now, all this homeless stuff and everything that's going on would have been much better antiquated.
Yeah.
Because that's what he is. He's literally an activist for the people.
Really?
Yeah, and so and that's the platform that he ran on. And back when he ran or whatnot, it was still pretty risque to be doing things like smoking marijuana and things of that nature. He actually smoked weed in the debate on I think it was KBTV or KGW. I don't know.
Do you think that lost him some votes?
I don't know. You know what? I think it definitely won him some votes.
Definitely.
Where's the trade-off?
For sure.
Where's the trade-off? I think if you tried that, over down south or maybe on the East Coast a little bit, there might have been a little bit different reception.
Yeah.
But he was drinking beer and smoking weed on the stage against Ted Wheeler and still almost beat him.
Wow.
Yep. So now he's fallen back. He said, okay, well, the people didn't want me. We actually got an animal sanctuary over in Hawaii. We got an acre of uncultivated forest land out there that has been turned into a full-on animal sanctuary for rescue animals exclusively.
I like the guy.
Yeah, he's an awesome person for the people, awesome advocate for the animals. Out there fighting right now for our brother Ghostbuster. He got parvo, so he's out there right now trying to take care of Ghostbuster. We're wishing him the best, man. Hopefully when this podcast comes out, the Ghostbuster's still with us. But yeah, Jesse's an amazing person. He had originally started the cryptocurrency in 2018.
Okay.
And then everything crashed. Yeah. We had a large Bitcoin crash. The market went belly up. It was right after the first NFT summer. So in 2018 or whatnot, the NFTs had shot up. Everything was looking very similar to what's going on right now. Yeah. Or what was going on before our most recent crash, right? Yeah. But not to go too far into things or whatnot. I like to keep the banter back and forth like we were talking about. But just to kind of finish where we're at inside of the story, everything crashed down. Everything sat dormant for a minute. I run a show called Dirty Dabs, which was literally activism for marijuana use. I ran it in the middle of the height of prohibition, right before everything was, everything was relaxed a little bit because we still don't have federal independence. Yeah. I was going to say, what year was that? Yeah. So that would have been about 2018, 2019. Yeah. When I was running this, originally starting the show with Go Ham Films. Shout out to Jim Bonus. He's sitting across the street right now, which is really big in Portland. But I had originally done it with, I had originally started Dirty Dabs. And basically what it was the hot wings of dabbing. So if you guys are familiar with the show Hot Wings, it's where you eat a hotter and hotter chicken leg until all of a sudden you can't take it anymore.
I just watched a podcast or a show with Shia LaBeouf where he was doing that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of the good ones. Shaq also has a lot of good quotables over there.
Okay.
But there's some great stuff on Hot Wings. But we did Dirty Dabs. Dirty Dabs basically was a contest to see how far could you go all the way up to the Dirty Dab, which is a full gram dab all at once.
Wow.
Yep. And so we start off real slow, smoke a bowl, ask a trivia question.
Of flour?
Okay. Of flour.
Okay.
Smoke a joint of flour.
Yeah.
Independently. So I smoke a joint where the other person smokes a full joint there.
Yeah.
Then we ask a trivia question. Move on to a single dab, just a regular old dab. Then we have the snack of the episode.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. About that time, you're gonna get a little hungry, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's right before the intensity happens.
Yeah.
So then we go a full half gram dab, and then step it up to a full gram dab.
So you just go straight from a joint
From a bowl
to a joint, and then to
A
the
regular
first
dab.
regular dab, which is how much?
Which is just probably what you would normally take. If you were going to take a good dab that you would feel it,
Yeah.
that's what we take.
Then do a half gram of dab.
Yep, then a half gram,
Wow.
which most people buy about a gram at a time. Right?
Yeah.
For our listeners who aren't familiar with the whole
And then
dab.
they break it up into how many would you say?
Most of the time, so for a full gram, that'll probably last a casual user 2 weeks.
Wow.
A regular user 3, 4, maybe even a week. 3, 4 days, maybe even a week.
Yeah.
And so, also falling back for our casual listeners or whatnot who aren't out there going to the extremes of marijuana usage, what a dab is it's a concentrate.
Yeah.
It's a concentrate of the active ingredient inside of the plant marijuana.
Yeah.
That active ingredient is THC. They take it, they knock the THC off, and then create a concentrate out of it.
What do you think the cleanest way is, since you know sort of about dabs, of breaking that down?
Solventless.
Okay.
So solventless is always going to be the wave. What they do traditionally, or how they started knocking the THC crystals off of there, was by using butane.
That's what I heard.
You can think about it. Butane is a fuel.
Fire.
You know, it's a chemical. So knocking something off of the chemical, even as clean as the chemical may be, or may burn off, or may saturate into oxygen. Be saturated by oxygen. No matter what, you're still going to have a little bit of the chemical leach into whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
Solventless is where they back engineer washing machines and then fill them with ice, fill that with water, and then put all the plant matter in there and turn it on the rinse cycle.
How the heck did they figure that out? That's kind of cool.
I'm telling you,
Wow.
You give a man officially for a day, you give him an opportunity.
Someone was laying in bed and it just came to them, ding, some engineer, / chemist.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And it had to be, one of these guys who's already inside of the know, inside of chemistry. And you went, well, wait a second, I bet you can do this a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So back to a full gram dab is you made it to that point.
That's a cherry on top. And actually, the crazy thing is, every person who has come on Dirty Dabs so far has completed the gauntlet.
Wow.
But also, anybody who's crazy enough to come on Dirty Dabs probably knows that they want to complete the gauntlet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I had to step it up a notch. So on the Jesse Sponberg episode, and that's pulling back full cycle, I had Jesse Sponberg on Dirty Dabs as the mayoral candidate, and this is before me and him started doing the Kudokin. He had already launched the Kudokin, but the crash had already happened. He was sitting there dormant.
Okay.
So afterwards, I have Jesse Sponberg on Dirty Dabs, and I stepped it up a notch, and I started doing a THC elixir. So before you even started, you pour the THC into the cup, and I give about 3 times the amount that you would normally take on your own. And that has an activation time of anywhere from 15 minutes to 45 minutes.
Whoa. So before you even start the first bowl, you're drinking THC.
Correct. That's going to kick in as you're trying to do the episode and as you're going.
Wow.
And Jesse still crushed it. So, the people who are willing to come out and really show out their bravado.
Yeah. And so was he one of the first on the show?
Yeah, so I believe that Jesse was our third contestant on the show. Yep.
Because everybody's like, man, I got to beat this mayoral candidate, right? Because they've obviously seen the show.
Yep.
That's funny.
So it's been really cool. There's another show out there where they do not something similar, but it's a marijuana show out in Portland. It's called Park and Spark. So big shout out to Brandon Spalding who does that one.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to be part of the marijuana culture.
For sure.
A lot of people didn't realize, and this is something I'm kind of revealing on the podcast right now, but the whole reason that I did Dirty Dabs in the first place wasn't because I wanted to showcase marijuana or I wanted to do this. It was actually because of prohibition that was still happening even after legalization inside of our state.
Yeah.
So as a union member, I still wasn't allowed to smoke marijuana or have my own ideals about it, even though it wasn't affecting my work or having anything.
Yeah. That just came to me, actually, that question, is there a point, because obviously you're doing dabs, like full gram dabs on your show. Mm-hmm. Is there a point where you feel like you're out of control with marijuana at all? Or are you just, it's so, because you are a union member, you just smoked. Mm-hmm. how are you avoiding, everything that's going on around you and smoking?
So the cool thing about marijuana is that marijuana literally is a plant.
Yeah.
I believe that people can get mentally addicted to marijuana or whatnot, but marijuana is not physically addictive.
Yeah.
I have quit marijuana for 2 and 3 year stints at a time and then smoked, full gram dabs and gone back to not smoking again.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tested it out just to make sure, honestly.
Could you go from not smoking to a full gram dab?
Not if you really wanted to feel good about yourself in the morning.
What would happen to you? You think you just pass out?
Basically, what happens is your eyes get extremely bloodshot red. It's really hard. They start tingling kind of on the outside. It almost feels like you stuck something inside of your eye. Like you keep kind of rubbing at your eyes because it almost burns and hurts.
Yeah.
Your mouth gets so dry that you can't even swallow and you almost feel like you're choking.
That's what would happen to me.
Yeah. And then you feel a lot of anxiety.
Crazy anxiety.
Freaking, your heart just starts rushing. Everything starts rushing, and then eventually you fall asleep.
Yeah.
And if you've done it too much, you literally overdosed yourself on weed, you'll wake up and still feel like that.
Wow. So almost like a perma high.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it'll take probably about 48 hours to really start to feel normal again.
Yeah.
And then in 72 hours, you're like, wow, I'm not going to do that again. That sucked.
Yeah. So you said you quit. Like, why did you ever quit?
I actually quit to join the union.
Okay.
Yep.
That's
originally, when I got into the union, I didn't know, anything about the drug tests or how it worked or any ways to manipulate the system, because at one point in time, I was definitely manipulating the system, only because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in other people. It should be based off of your work ethic, right? You should know if somebody is good or somebody is bad. And there was points in time where literally I was a material handler making the least amount on the job site. And I was doing the job of one of the highest paid people on the job site while still smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
So it obviously wasn't affecting my performance and it obviously wasn't affecting anything that I was doing. So it almost seemed like a slap in the face. Also, I had been dealing, I started smoking marijuana when I was in 4th grade.
Yeah.
Because I was severely ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And I had really, really bad hyperactiveness and a lot of anxiety, social anxiety. And marijuana curbed that for me.
Yeah.
So for a very long time, people knew that I smoked marijuana and were trying to, prohibit me from doing it. My parents, my grandmother, all of these people at school and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And most of the time when I would ask them why they didn't want me to do it or, what their experience even was with it, they weren't providing me with a satisfactory answer. Their answers were stuff like, oh, I've never done it. Oh, you're just not supposed to. You have to wait until you make your own decisions because I'm responsible for you.
Yeah.
And honestly, there wasn't a good enough answer for me when what I was doing was helping me, was filling a void inside of my life that I was having problems with.
Yeah.
So it was helping me.
It's like a chemical reaction. I've always said, like, if they would have legalized marijuana over alcohol and it was opposite of each other, how different the world would be.
I'm telling you.
I've always said that.
Yeah. And I think that they didn't on purpose because what marijuana does is it makes you a free thinker. And one of the worst things, and very inclusive, very accepting of things.
Yeah.
And one of the last things that they want us to do is be verbalizing, talking to each other and accepting each other for our diversities.
Yeah. Another thing was, drinking and driving and marijuana and driving. Like when you smoke, you all of a sudden, you'll be driving slower than the speed limit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like, you're very cautious.
Yeah.
And very attentive to what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a sensory enhancement, you know? And so it's interesting the things that the world has decided, for us. Yeah. It's interesting the stuff that's happened before us that now we are subject to directly because that's what we're told and indoctrinated to. Mm-hmm. So I don't personally subscribe to other people's vision and interpretations. Instead, I like to make my own path and decide my own way. And what I found is that marijuana helped me It helped me to be more patient. It helped me to be more accepting. It helped me to calm down and to slow things down and then be more productive as a result.
Yeah.
And that's why I continued to campaign and go against the prohibition of something that I cared for dearly.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with your vision there on the legalization federally. It's ridiculous that it's not legal federally yet. But one thing I had a question was, I've had a cousin that hurt himself at a manual labor. It was a sawmill. He ended up cutting off the 2 tips of his fingers. He went and smoked at lunch, came back, forgot, pushed a friggin', is there anything that could happen where you work, like that you could hurt yourself and you feel like maybe that's why they're, cautious about smoking marijuana at work?
Absolutely. I believe that there are things that could literally melt your bones into the ground in seconds.
Yeah.
At the chemical factory that I work at.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can tell you is, and that's the whole thing is that they don't want people with impaired judgment doing anything, period. Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's acceptable for one person or not, I don't want people going out there and thinking that they can do what I do. Facts.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, to each their own, right?
Yeah.
But in order to prohibit people from doing things on their own time in the sanctity of their own home with their own volition and choice, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah. Well, you can get away with drinking vodka and not being able to smell it at work. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that come to work still drunk, even drinking inside whatever container you have.
There's people who are snorting cocaine and methamphetamines and staying up for weeks and running those freaking cranes.
Yeah.
That are operating cranes right now directly above your head who haven't slept in days.
Wow.
So don't,
Yeah.
Like I said, there's always going to be some bad with it. There's always going to be a level of responsibility that comes inside of your own ambition and your own directive.
Yeah.
And so it's people taking ownership of it. And what I found in my 38 years of wisdom is that people aren't very good about taking responsibility for themselves.
True. So back to the crypto, you said there was a couple that you were working on. Mm-hmm. You said Kadokin was the first one.
Correct. And so jumping back into it, with Jesse Sponberg or whatnot, I had him over on the Dirty Dab show. He really liked what I was doing on the Dirty Dab show, and he was running his own podcast called Coffee and Bong Hits, which is still running right now,
Nice.
Where Dirty Dabs right now is retired indefinitely.
Okay.
So Jesse asked me, hey, can I take a couple ideas from what you have? Like, having guests on your show. He's like, right now I do my podcast by myself. He's like, I really like the idea of what you're doing. Yeah. He's like, I'm really inspired by some of the things that you're doing. We're kind of birds of a feather.
Uh-huh.
I said, of course, absolutely. My ideas aren't secular.
They're not proprietary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And thanks for giving me credit and asking, beforehand. He was like, absolutely. He's like, on top of it, would you like to be a resident on my show? And every Thursday, come on Coffee and Bong Hits.
Cool.
And I was like, absolutely. Let's do it. So we started doing Coffee and Bong Hits. I was on every Thursday. Me and Jesse became closer as the years had gone by. We'd always been in the same circles, but we hadn't met until Jim Bonus had brought him on Dirty Dabs with me. He's one of the people who I had eyed as a contestant, but I actually hadn't met him or talked to him. So when Jim Bonus ran into him at a function, he invited him on Dirty Dabs, and the rest is history. So we got to talking or whatever. I was investing in cryptocurrency at the time. I had invested in Chainlink and a couple other ones at the time, the Graph and obviously Ethereum, Bitcoin, all of that. I was starting to amass a pretty large portfolio of crypto. I was starting to really get into it. And when I had bought Chainlink, it was at $3. And it immediately jumped from $3 up to $7.
Wow.
And so, and I had put in a couple thousand into it or whatnot. And so I watched that money swell and went, wow, what is this? I got it piqued my interest almost immediately. Right? When your money starts tripling, all of a sudden it gets you, like, okay, well, hold on, I can do that. That doesn't hurt.
Yeah. How can I do this even better?
Exactly. So I started talking about cryptocurrency on his show. trying to get more people who are like me in my demographic, you know what I'm saying, interested in money opportunities and in what I saw as an advancing and emerging technology.
Yeah.
It's like, look, this is a brand new money market. Most people don't know about this. Look at all the stuff that's happened and look at what happened to me.
Yeah.
Everybody should be aware of this. And Jesse was like, dude, did you know back when I was a mayoral candidate, I hosted the first ever Dogecoin conference in Oregon. The person who created Dogecoin is actually from Eugene, Oregon.
Really?
Which a lot of people don't know that.
Did not know that.
So
I have quite a few. Dogecoin.
Oh yeah, is a Doge is a Doge.
Doge.
I always call it the Doge. I'm trying to get away from it.
Yeah.
You gotta dodge the shit coins, right?
Yeah.
Just messing around. All crypto's good. But he said, "Oh yeah, you know," and they had given me a whole bunch of them, and I lost them.
No way.
I was like, "No way,
Oh
dude!
my
Like
gosh.
10 million Dogecoin, and he had lost them."
Jeez.
And this
at,
was
at like 0.00004 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is before, when we're talking about this on the show, before it went up to even 0.005,
Yeah.
which is when everybody got interested
Yeah.
in it, right before the big blow up,
Yep.
right before the big sink, when your boy Elon Musk
Yeah.
went on Saturday Night
Yep.
Live and
Yep.
tanked everybody.
Yeah.
That was fun. I pulled out before.
That was
Thank you,
fun.
Dogecoin.
Yeah. Good for you.
Nice doing business.
Yeah.
So, and that's the whole thing, right? You got to either have diamond dreams or paper hands.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to trade and day trade or whatnot, then you day trade with paper hands.
Yeah.
You go up, you take a profit, you automatically take that profit
Exactly.
whenever you have it.
Exactly.
And you don't look back.
Yeah.
You know, and you also don't look forward.
Yeah.
You
You try to do it again.
absolutely.
Yeah. You do
know.
research.
And then you have your hodls, right? Your
Yeah.
things, and hopefully you're not hodling shit coins.
Yeah.
That's my own personal opinion. Don't fight the messenger. But that's the whole thing, right? And so once he got it or told me about the Dogecoin and all that, he said, I actually started my own cryptocurrency on the Waves platform. It's called the Kudokin. It's a barter coin for community members.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. All
Yeah.
right. You know, that sounds pretty neat. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, basically what I envisioned is almost like a Facebook marketplace or like a Craigslist where people could offer goods and services and then people could pay them back in cryptocurrency.
Wow.
I was like, that's pretty revolutionary.
Yeah.
You did that in 2017 and 18? He's like, yeah. So we started in 2017 on Wave's platform. It ended in 2018 when the entire thing crashed. He's like, and now it's, due for a revamp.
Yeah.
I already had a couple of crypto projects that were in mind, and I had just learned how to write smart contracts and do the whole nine. And so I thought, before I waste one of my good ideas, why not tamper with somebody else's?
Yeah.
It wound up being a much better idea than I could ever imagine.
Kudokin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he basically said, hey, let's revamp this or whatnot. You have a lot of great ideas. You know a whole bunch about the scene right now. You're already prosperous inside of it. I had started my own podcast called Unblocked, revealing the mysteries of the blockchain.
Yep.
It was focused on blockchain technology rather than just cryptocurrency and talking about what could be done and what was going to need to be done. I'm a telecommunications design engineer by trade.
Mm-hmm.
So automatically when I thought about, this is a new web hosting and all of these are individual projects, they're going to have their own servers. What do we build?
What was the individual web hosting?
All these Web3 projects.
Okay.
So they're basically what Web 3.0 does is when the internet was first started, it was, you could think of it as a big, gigantic warehouse.
Yeah.
Where you could put anything in there.
Okay.
Well, if you've ever stacked a bunch of boxes in one place and then tried to go back and actually look through the boxes, you start to realize how hard it is when everything's stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
And that's why the World Wide Web moves so slow right now.
Yeah.
It's because those individual searches have to query billions, I would think. I don't even know how many different things are on the internet. Right?
Yeah.
That's why they call it the IoT, the Internet of Things. Right?
Yeah.
So the Internet of Things is this gigantic thing, right? And people would start querying it and go, oh man, this is taking longer and longer and longer. So what people started to do was think of what's a good way that we could make it so you can find your destination faster.
Yeah.
And that's what Web 3.0 is it's basically taking and putting in shelving inside of the internet.
Okay.
So in order to do that, to section off the internet, you have to have individual servers and places to host those individual projects.
Yeah.
And what do we do as a networking support specialist? We host individual server domains. So I thought, shit, Can we swear on that
Yeah,
podcast?
yeah.
I thought, shit, this is going to be absolutely wild. We're going to get a whole bunch of work for this. I should probably start paying a good amount of attention to it.
Yeah,
Also, can I use the restroom real quick?
of course. Yeah.
Is it, I know that you guys were trying to go for a minute. So
No,
that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
We can
That
break
seemed
for
like a
second.
good break.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
we can jump right back in there. Come this way, and then I'll take you in.
Hold on, I'm giving you some good content here, bro.
Did you want any water or anything?
No,
Okay.
I'm just sipping on that watermelon there.
All right. Should we went without headphones, so we're good without headphones.
Yeah,
right?
we should be good. Yeah.
Let's do this ladder real quick.
Cool.
Oh, you mentioned something about Ghostbusters. Could you elaborate on that? Just because I have no context of what that's all about.
Sure. So Ghostbuster is a dog that we have on the animal rescue. So Jesse comes up with all of these awesome names. Stuff like, oh gosh, what is his name? Muggerface, Ghostbuster, Papaya. So some really awesome names. And so Ghostbuster is one of the dogs that's out there right now. We just contracted Parvo and hookworms.
Nice.
Wow.
And so that's kind of the plight of being in animal rescue, right? Is that you get attached to the animals, and some of them will come in or a little bit less than in ideal conditions.
Yeah.
We also almost got a kitten who actually washed up on shore in Hawaii. So that's where the animal sanctuary is in Hawaii. The kitten actually washed up on shore.
The kitten.
Yep.
How
And
old
was-
was the kitten?
And was still
That's
alive.
crazy.
Probably weeks.
Wow.
Probably from the look over, she was probably 7 weeks, maybe 8 weeks at the most. And she got to the animal sanctuary and unfortunately passed away. And
Yeah.
so she got to be buried on the animal sanctuary. But, that's kind of the heartbreaking effects of things is that
It's crazy it was still alive.
you really get those emergency calls, right?
Yeah.
It's like being an emergency paramedic. A lot
Do you
of
get
times.
to go to Hawaii very often? And
I actually haven't been out there since we started the animal sanctuary. It's relatively new within the last several months. And so once we got out there or whatnot, Stephen Prologic, as well as Jesse, of course, was out there building everything up, getting actual places for people to sleep, getting the animals out there, the first animals and all of that good stuff. So I'm probably planning on going the first time, maybe in November.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So the Web3 hosting you were talking about, elaborate on that a little bit in simple layman's terms so someone like me can understand.
Sure. So Web 3.0, as we were saying, is really just a reinvention of the internet.
Shelving system.
Yep. And what it allows projects to do is to have their own space where people can go and utilize the project's specialties, right? The project's offerings, if you will.
So is this crypto that you're still talking about, the project?
So what this is it's blockchain. So
Yeah,
blockchain is the foundational principle underneath crypto.
Okay. Yeah.
But let's give an example. So blockchain can host anything, right? And it can do it through what's called a non-fungible token.
Yep.
People talk about this all the time, the NFTs.
Yeah.
What people have seen a whole bunch from NFTs right now is that NFTs are mostly pictures, right? That people are utilizing in order to show off their projects. What projects that they're showcasing are art projects.
Yeah.
It's what a normal artist would do, right? Is have a gallery of art projects and then a way to be able to sell them.
Correct.
What blockchain technology is it's a ledger. It's an accounting ledger. And what it does is it assigns a serial number called a TXN hash. Won't get too far into it, but it assigns a number to something, any digital item.
Okay.
So it doesn't really work so well for physical items unless you're using some sort of hardware device or something to keep track of it. Let's give a couple examples of blockchain technology utilizing non-fungible tokens in a real-world scenario. Since 2017, the fruit industry has been using it in order to sort bananas and papayas and things that come out of a place like Brazil. So they have a barcode scanner that scans the barcode that's on the front that automatically backs up to the digital ledger.
Okay.
So let's say that it starts off in Brazil. Beep. It's now on the ledger. Shows that XY3257432, which is, a much longer number than that, is a banana.
Yeah.
That banana is here in Brazil.
Okay.
Once it goes to its next destination,
Scan it.
beep, scanned again, automatically backs up to the ledger. So it basically works as a inventory sorting system, accounting ledger, anything that you would need to be able to track items is what the blockchain does.
Yep.
We can jump into a little bit of history just to give a broad overview. Bitcoin created by a guy named Satoshi Nakamoto. Originally, Satoshi Nakamoto said, hey, fiat currency is BS. Why? Because it can be funged. It can be replicated. It can be duplicated. It may not even be the same thing.
Correct.
When we put it digital or whatnot, we can't track it from this dollar to the digital version of that dollar. So therefore, automatically creating more money. What's to say that when you turn that dollar into the bank and that bank account or that number goes up on your bank account, that dollar actually goes into your bank account? Where does it go?
Yeah. I've always wondered that.
It's a good question, right? So and you're handing it over to somebody, to an actual person. That person obviously didn't make that. They're not storing that number for you.
Yeah.
Where's that money going? And they've already told us, we're reusing it right now. Yeah, the banks make a whole bunch of money off your money. What does that mean? That means that they're literally taking that. They're giving you a fake number inside of a imaginary thing. And then they're taking your dollar and going and spending it.
Yeah. And they'll just print more.
Yep. And hopefully they have
Federal
enough.
Reserve.
And the crazy thing is, if they don't have enough, they're FDIC insured.
Yeah.
So what that means is the federal government has said, hey, man, if you go and spend all their money and you accidentally mess it up, we'll go ahead and give you the money back. We're cool like that.
Yeah.
What?
Up to $250.
How do I sign in?
Yeah.
I want to be covered up to $250. I can just go fuck off people's money and call it good. Sorry, I don't mean to get crass. But yeah, I can go mess off people's money and call it all good. You know? So what Satoshi Nakamoto said was, hey, I can create a digital system where nobody would be able to do that.
Yeah.
So we created the Bitcoin and we started looking for something to be able to ledger it on, something to be able to hold the information. What he ran into was a dead technology. The dead technology had been created in order to make emails usable in court back when the email system first started. It's talking like 80s stuff, right?
Yeah.
70s, 80s, early 90s stuff. So this dead system that was called the blockchain was originally created to take somebody's computer, back up their hard drive, and then stamp it on the blockchain, proving that the person who sent that email was the person inside a court.
Oh, wow. Huh. A way to track it.
Yep. Then all of a sudden, MSN came out and Google came out and Yahoo came out and they made their own tracking systems and they made you verify who you were already so they could already tell, and they made IP addresses and the internet got smarter and they made it so they could actually track that stuff without even needing the technology.
Yeah.
So poof, went away blockchain until Satoshi Nakamoto came along and said, hey, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's already admissible in court.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest thing that people don't realize. Is the blockchain technology right now is already acceptable in court because when they first started the technology, that's what it was used for.
Mm-hmm.
So if you buy a non-fungible token, you take that non-fungible token, you put it on the internet, National Geographic picks up that picture of the bald eagle that you caught soaring above the Columbia River Gorge, and they put it on the front of National Geographic, and that National Geographic earns $100 million worth of revenue. That money's yours and it's provable. Tell that to Twitter. Oh, dang. That's my catchphrase.
I like that.
So literally, Twitter is always talking about, oh, I just snapshotted your JPEG or whatever. Now I own the non-fungible token. No, that person still owns it. Now you've replicated it. So please share away.
Yeah.
Because the moment that you go viral and you make that money's mine. I don't think that the artists even fully realize who are making these NFTs that you've now sold your proprietary property, the entirety of it, provable in the court of law directly to the person who bought it from you for fake money, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting game that we're in right now. Nobody fully understands it. And most of the time people aren't smart enough to even do their research to even start to understand what they're getting themselves into. And that's cryptocurrency right now.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is mass adoption will happen because what the non-fungible token does is it makes it absolutely impossible to embezzle and hide money. And why would the government not want that?
Yeah. So they're going to create their own, right?
And that's when they'll take over the crypto market.
Yeah. Have they already created their own?
So
is there a token that the government owns that you're weary of being that?
And I'm not worried of anything because I already know that we're in checkmate. A long time.
Because there's other tokens that the world can use. What if the government says now this is the only token you can use?
So the way that it's going to work is pretty much like that, but exactly the opposite of the way that you're thinking of it.
Okay.
So what's going to happen? And I can't remember the guy's first name, but his last name's Powell. It's the guy who is in charge of the SEC right now.
Okay.
He's come out and said, we are creating our own digital currency as of right now because of the rise in cryptocurrency. This was 2 years ago, I believe he said that. Don't quote me on that. It might have been last year. But he came out and said, we don't have to be first. We have to do it correct.
Okay.
And what he's talking about is the fact that a lot of blockchain projects keep getting vulnerabilities exposed by hackers, to say the least.
Is that possible?
It is definitely possible because what you're talking about is a computer program. What you're talking about is an algorithm. What you're talking about is an encrypted network that is accessible because it has to be accessible in order for it to be fluid.
Correct.
So the best way to protect yourself is through cold storage. by taking those TXN hashes, putting them inside of something, and then taking that offline so that nobody can get to it.
Okay.
But still, somebody can get to it, can't they? So we're in a very interesting place right now. What's going to happen, and what just happened is that the entire crypto market was created off of something called the USDT, the US dollar token, or the Tether. It wasn't entirely created off of that. Bitcoin has its own subset. You just follow along with me, people. It was backed. A lot of the exchanges, some of the most popular exchanges, Coinbase, Crypto.com, Binance, all of these ones were backed by the US dollar Tether token. Originally, it started off with an amount of money or whatnot, and they minted that money dollar for dollar, token for token. And then they took that money and put it in what would be considered what? A reserve.
Yep.
Same exact thing that they did when they originally created currency as the fiat currency. Rothschild was originally hired by Britain in order to create the king's currency. People didn't want to adopt the king's currency, so instead Rothschild created the promissory note where he loaned the king's currency out to neighboring countries who were in desolate shock and were about to be taken over. He said, look, king, don't go over there and kill them. Instead, I'll loan them some money. Of your money that won't be adopted, they'll give it to the poor people who are inside of their stuff. They'll come over and offer it back to your guys at triple the amount. Those people will trade it for goats. The poor people will take the goats back. Their land will start prospering. They'll owe you a bunch of money, and you don't have to go over and kill them. You'll own their country anyway. Then he took that, all those promissory notes. He did it over and over and over again. Found a brand new budding colony who just tossed a whole bunch of tea inside of the ocean or the river or whatever the fuck that was, right? Young United States of America, and said, hey, you guys want your own currency? Check out what I did with the British pound. What you can tell is the British pound is always the most amount of money that you can get. It's worth the most amount of money because it was the first one.
Yeah.
All fiat currency after that. It was the Bitcoin of fiat currency, right? So he went over or whatnot, found America and said, check it out. What we're going to do is I have all these promissory notes. We're going to back this currency off of these promissory notes. We'll create you guys and establish you guys as a corporation through the District of Columbia, the Washington District of Columbia. We'll get you guys a number and we'll register you as a corporation over there in the motherland. Then we'll say that the assets are the people and land therein, the governing body that we own. We'll hand out numbers to each working person in order to be able to prove their workability. And we'll put a number on how many average working years they have from the age of 18 to 65. We'll varnish them with a social security number. And then that will be the assets of the United States of America, the properties therein. We'll have those people start to back that fiat currency because the fiat currency, in order for a currency to be successful, the only thing that it takes is one thing. Do you know what that one thing is? Confidence. Confidence from the people that the promissory note is valid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a promise, right?
Yeah.
That promise isn't from the government. The promise isn't, hey, if everything goes belly up, I'm going to make sure that we take care of you. Instead, the promise is between me and you, the giver and the recipient. That when I come over and get one of your goats for a piece of paper, that you're going to honor that piece of paper when I come back. It's an equivalent exchange. That's the promise. The promissory note is between the two of us that this piece of paper is worth a goat. Pretty cool, huh? So from that, we moved into them wanting to get confidence inside of the dollar bill, inside of the fiat currency. So what happened was they started having people get on their hands and knees and dig through the dirt to find shiny rocks. They told them, oh yeah, these shiny rocks are worth a whole bunch of money. Oh man, it's called gold. You bring it over here, we're going to put it inside of the reserve and that'll back the currency and we'll give you these pieces of paper that are worth the gold. When they took the gold, they smelted all that shit and threw it away as soon as they had enough confidence. And now they're going to back the crypto market in this worthless paper. And they're going to do that by getting it right, according to Chairman Powell. That's the story of cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and it will be the new world order.
Yeah. the one world currency.
Correct. So what does cryptocurrency do really well? Cryptocurrency is amazing because what you can do is you can create your own project. So let's use a call center as an example. Getting away from the non-fungible token thing, everybody understands, right? That a non-fungible token is a way to follow digital assets and provable ownership that's already accepted in the court of law since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes your ability to be able to sell your work and also prove that you own that work very tangible, right?
Yeah.
So big thing, it's a big deal. Blockchain technology is huge, and especially all these, proprietary art. If somebody dies and they become extremely famous from that, and you own one of those NFTs or whatnot, you will be able to prove that you own that NFT and it is the original mint, and now that it's going to be worth a lot of money. History repeats itself.
Yeah.
Predictive programming, right?
Yep.
This world is a mechanism. So understanding that the world is a mechanism is what starts to be able to predict what's going to happen inside of the future. Getting back to cryptocurrency and all of that good stuff or whatnot, using the call center as an example.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say my call center is Blake Mack's call center, right? And I want to hire people all over the world because it's advantageous for me to have people who are awake during the nighttime inside of America and people who are awake, during business hours, right? So I hire somebody from South Africa, somebody from China, somebody from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Shout out my brother Logan, from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, and somebody from Portland, Oregon. I can pay them instantly at the end of their shift, and they can take that money via exchange and convert it to whatever currency that they want to instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So with my Blake Mack token, based off the Ethereum platform, it's worth X amount of Ethereum. Ethereum is worth X. Ethereum converted to US dollar token, the new one, not the Tether that just crashed to all God, but the actual one that Chairman Powell's working on right now for when they take over the crypto market, and then it's worth actual United States dollars. That will be able to be converted back into Chinese yen, Russian,
Mm-hmm.
Japanese, American.
Yeah.
So how advantageous is that for a business to be able to start their own project, host their own project on their own servers, control everything, and be able to pay people instantly and have those people be able to convert it to whatever they want to spend it on?
Very.
And that's the mystery of blockchain right now unveiled. So if you haven't already bought some cryptocurrency, you may want to look for a good project.
Yeah. What do you recommend?
Right now, my favorite is DOT. The reason that I'm so bullish, so the industry term.
Bullish and bearish.
Yeah.
Bullish is up, bearish is down.
Correct.
Just like the stock market.
Yep. So the reason I'm so bullish on Polkadot is because Polkadot was actually created by the real creator of Ethereum. So let's talk about the difference real quick between Bitcoin and Ethereum. I didn't know. We weren't thinking this podcast was going to turn into a crypto podcast, but we can go all the way with it.
Exactly. Let's do it.
So the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum is that Bitcoin was created only to be a currency.
Okay.
It was created just to be non-fungible.
Yeah.
To make it so you could track currency and that people weren't able to replicate the currency over and over again.
Exactly.
So after Bitcoin happened, and Satoshi Nakamoto, who is a relic, he's a ghost. Nobody knows who he is, what he looks like. There's some statues of what people think he looks like. There's a guy who claimed to be him or whatnot, but nobody knows the truth. After he disappeared, a couple of really smart guys all got together. One of them's name's Charles Hoskins. One of them's name's Vitalik Buterin. One of them's name's Gavin Woods. Charles Hoskins now is ADA. Gavin Woods is now Polkadot. Vitalik is still Ethereum. So Vitalik, Charles, and Gavin got together and said, how can we make cryptocurrency even better?
Yeah.
And they came up with the idea of being able to host digital items and projects and anything that's digital on these non-fungible tokens, on these Bitcoin-backed blockchain ledger accounting system.
So how do you do it with Bitcoin still?
So what happened is they said, what do we do to change Bitcoin to make it better and to be able to host these things?
Yeah.
And they came up with what's called the smart contract.
Mm-hmm.
The smart contract allows you to host digital items on the non-fungible ledger. That's it. What can you host? Anything digital, a website, a project, or a program.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this. We talked about the World Wide Web being gigantic and dumb and hard to query or whatnot.
Yeah.
Now we break it down into small sections called Web 3.0 blockchain sections, right? And we make it big enough that it can host a program. One of those programs called Netflix. So you walk into Netflix area on the internet and now you're inside of Netflix. It's no longer where they have to look through all of the internet in order to find the title. No, you're just there. Once you walk into Netflix, you pick the movie starts.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's instant. Because you're inside of a hosted server. You're inside of your own place on the internet. And that's what Web 3.0 does.
Nice.
So you have a couple of different things in blockchain technology. A couple of different buzzwords, if you will. One, Web 3.0. Just explained it.
Yep.
It's a sectioning off of the internet. Two, cryptocurrency. These are digital currencies that can be followed and tracked on a ledger and provable ownership inside of digital wallets. The last one, non-fungible tokens. These are ways to track and prove ownership of digital collectibles, items, and art. And that goes from stationary, JPEG and things of that nature, all the way up through movies and whatever you can put, music videos, the whole 9 yards.
I hope people are taking notes. I definitely am.
My guy.
So back to Polkadot. Why do you love that? That's who did you say?
So that's Gavin Woods, right?
Gavin Woods.
So originally, Gavin, Charles, Vitalik all got together. They came up with a smart contract. They thought about it. Gavin was the one who actually did a majority of the programming. He's the one who wrote both the white papers, which the white papers are the explanation, the overview, the layman's terms of what something does, and then the technical yellow papers that actually tell you the code, the programming, and everything that happens behind that project.
Okay.
So he wrote both of those papers. He was the person who launched the Genesis block, which is the first block on Ethereum. He's the actual person who launched that, and he's the one who created the smart contract and did the programming on it. He's literally that guy.
What's Dot sitting at right now?
Dot is sitting currently at just under $7. Yeah, I think it actually bounced back up to 8, but I bet you anything by the end of tonight, when people are reading this, it's going to be back down at about.
Because that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering, because I'm just thinking about crypto as an investor. I'm not thinking about it as any other method or tool for the regular day-to-day guy. I'm thinking of it as an investment tool.
So what I can definitely tell you is that I am not a financial advisor. I have no college education. Well, I've taken economics and all of that good stuff, but I have no right to say that I am a financial advisor or an investor, and I do not give out investment advice.
Correct.
What I will definitely tell you is what my own personal opinions are and what my own personal portfolio and strategies on garnering more tokens are right now.
And what I'm intrigued by as an investor is that you have so much back-end knowledge of it. You've obviously studied crypto and you believe that it's going somewhere. Obviously it's down right now. You know what I mean? But why would I, as an investor, still, or somebody that wants to, like you said, help us make money, beat the system, so to speak. What's a good project, crypto, whatever you want to call it, for somebody to feel confident about in your eyes, not investment advice.
So really cool thing that I like to do is you give a man a fish, they're going to eat for a day. And I used this a little bit earlier or whatnot, but if you teach them how to fish, then they'll eat forever.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is go over what I look for inside of a project in order to choose the ones that I like.
And do you read the white papers? Is that what you're getting at, or?
I actually don't read a whole lot of white papers. Now, I've written several white papers, but I do so much reading and so much jazz that I have to do on a daily basis that I don't even bother with the white papers because I can already see it for its face value and see how the market trends are going to affect things.
Okay.
I also look at the people behind it and their activity.
Yeah.
Is this person a person who I like? Because that's what you're doing. When you back a project, if you back the Kudokan and you come over and you get tokens from us and you start playing our video games and watching Coffee and Bong hits and going out to the animal sanctuaries and doing this stuff, it's because you like me and Jesse.
Yeah.
Period.
What's Kudokan sitting at right now?
Kudokan is actually sitting at 0.0009.
So still good to get in.
You know, it's still very, very low.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't necessarily say get in. I would say it's still an opportunity right now to back the project inside of its infancy stages.
Okay. Because you like you guys.
Literally.
Yeah.
And that's the whole entire thing. It's a popularity contest as of right now or whatnot until people have provable projects that are off the ground. And most projects are inside of their infancy stages because the technology is in its infancy stage. The best blockchain project that is going to shock the world hasn't even been created yet.
Okay.
You know, very successful, great projects that are foundational infrastructures to the entire technology are already sitting there.
Yeah.
At surface value with guys who are incredibly intelligent, who've been working inside of the business, not only blockchain technology and Web 3.0 technology, but programming, computer science, and the whole entire malarkey.
Yeah.
For, you know, as long as, since they were knee high to the grasshopper.
Yeah.
There's a lot of incredibly intelligent people out there, you know, and there's a lot of incredibly intriguing projects that have awesome technology behind it. You know, there's a lot of great and talented artists right now who are out there. Like I said, the next biggest NFT artist hasn't even died yet. Isn't that terrible to say?
Yeah.
But literally, art goes up, and you know we know
Yeah.
historically how that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
You know, you can look at historical factors, you know, predictive programming in order to see how those things happen.
Yeah.
So what I look for inside of a blockchain project when I'm looking at it is I look at where it's sitting at right now, what the foundational infrastructure is behind it. What does it actually do? And what is the height of where it is at?
Yeah.
Right now, this big crypto crash that just happened wasn't necessarily the same as other crypto crashes. The original crypto crash, the Bitcoin crash or whatever, the 2018 crash happened after vulnerabilities were shown inside of Ethereum. After they created the smart contract got hacked.
Yeah.
As soon as it got hacked, a whole bunch of money got
Everybody
stolen.
dropped out.
Everybody got cold feet or whatnot. The market was already dropping in 2018 or whatnot. There was already a recession-ish, you know, type of climate inside of the economy, and everything dropped out from underneath it. So
What happened this last time?
this last time, what happened is that the US dollar token, the Tether, was built off of, for lack of better words, bullshit. What they did originally is they went and they minted them dollar for dollar to circle back around to where we were.
Yeah.
Dollar for dollar. Then afterwards they said, okay, well, we need this to progress. Let's get some more investors. And they started accepting any investment in any asset that they deemed was worth money. So they started accepting foreign investment based off of foreign real estate, which, as you know, the United States of America's government has never been real big on buying Chinese property.
Yeah.
So the SEC and the powers that be who go and actually look at markets for their bottom dollar value certainly aren't going to think that plots of land in China are worth the amount of money that the US dollar tether wanted to say it was worth.
Yeah.
So cryptocurrency has been fighting for regulation for a while and been fighting for adoption and also been fighting for governments to adopt it. Some of the first governments that we saw were Argentina and Chile and all of these other governments who, you know, already had resources that were dwindling and needed to be able to offer some sort of stability inside of their regimes.
Yeah.
And that's why you saw those governments immediately adopting and being some of the earliest adopters and giving those kicks and those bullish market candles that we saw there when all of a sudden that news would come out. is because they had nothing else. And they were betting the same way that a lot of us are betting, that eventually this technology that allows you to be able to follow currency all around the world is going to be adopted, right? So they were some of the first to get in there and some of the first to jump it up. Well, now America's caught on, and now America's interested. And they're interested because it's another money market. And people don't understand money markets. Money markets are a rich person's slot machine. But almost with better odds, right? Because they can come in, they can manipulate the market, they can throw in a bunch of money, pull out a yacht before 10 a.m. and go sailing by noon. While we're all slaving away for 8 hours of freaking pay, thinking that $50 is worth something. You know, whether it's an hour or whether it's your entire shift, we're still thinking it's worth something, and it absolutely isn't. Now, when people are waking up and pull $350,000 out of the stock market, gallivanting around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is another money market. This is another opportunity, and this is an emerging technology that is now sectioning off the internet.
So what happened to Tether?
How's it going to lose? So Tether, the United States government caught on, said, okay, let's start looking at this. Let's go ahead and mint our own token. What are these markets and what are these exchanges based off of? They found Tether. They audited Tether's assets and said, we think this is worth about a quarter of what you say it is.
Wow.
So now it's worth a quarter of what you say it is, because if you guys want the United States to adopt cryptocurrency, you're going to do it by our rules.
Yeah.
So they bit the bullet, said, okay, it's worth a quarter of what it says it is. So overnight, the Tether, which has been backing most of the major exchanges, went from being worth $1, dollar for dollar, to being worth 30 cents to the dollar.
Ouch.
And that's where all of that money went.
Yeah.
When will it come back?
Dollar for dollar? Will it even?
When would it come back? When could it come back?
When they create their own.
Because the United States is going to make a dollar that's worth dollar for dollar.
Dollar for dollar.
And if they bought the cryptocurrency market and inflated the market based on regulation that allowed cryptocurrency to be traded on regulated markets, all of a sudden the inflation goes right back up to where it was, because the dollar for dollar is actually a dollar for dollar. And the, what do they call it? The potential is already there.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's already hit 65.
Mm-hmm.
Ethereum's already hit 5,000. So the United States market knows that if it puts that amount of money in inflation behind that digital currency, that's where it'll get to.
Yeah.
And that people will be interested because they've already seen the feeding frenzy on it.
Yeah. And of course they'll market it to us
Literally.
as being legit now.
Yep. And at that point in time, do you know what it allows people to do? Hedge funds are allowed to use it as an investment. So they're allowed to take retirement money, which I don't know if you know how much the populace of retirement money that's sitting in hedge funds right now is, but it's a little bit of money. That then allows hedge funds to back cryptocurrencies after the United States has regulated it. So once the United States puts all that money back in there, whatever, swells it back up to $1 at 65,000, then you have one of the largest hedge funds like Grayscale or somebody come in and put 25 billion behind the entire crypto market. The people who bought at $7 are going to be feeling real damn pretty that day.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So that's what we're looking at.
We just went down a rabbit hole with crypto for sure.
Sure did, right?
Wow. No, I learned a lot. Thank you. I'm sure everybody else did too. That's a good podcast to watch if you have no idea about how crypto works, and definitely getting in more. You know, I've seen a few. I have a few friends that talk about DOT and Solana. I don't know anything about these. I don't read the white papers either. Yeah. So it's an interesting, way to invest. I know I've talked to Vic about other investments as well. Is this your primary form of investing?
No, I have a diversified portfolio, and it's depending on what you consider, direct investment or whatnot. I invest in myself quite a bit through retirement funds. So I have Roth IRAs, I have Cornell Hart pensions, I have individual investments that are going on inside of real estate like you guys, all sorts of different stuff.
That's what we talked about.
As well, I'm inside of technology, inside of technological stocks for penny stocks. I'm invested in regular dividend stocks. It's been one that I've been real big in, Royal Bank of Canada, stuff like that. That's about a quarterly sum for having larger investments inside of it. And then, of course, cryptocurrency is the dark horse in the room that has the most potential as well.
Yeah.
You know, depending on if you consider that an investment, which obviously I don't give investment advice.
Yeah. Do your own research.
Absolutely.
So you've also created a video game,
Yes, sir.
which was called. Did you talk about that a little bit?
I am. It's called Move This: Guns and Aliens.
Okay.
Yep. It's a blockchain video game, going based on blockchain
So you did
infrastructure.
say that a little bit. You said, yeah, we have a video game.
Oh, okay.
And when you were talking about Kadoken.
Sure. So Remove This is actually our franchise. It's an entire franchise. I have a comic book, NFT series, video game, as well as a whole lot of different cool things that are coming down the
NFT
pipeline.
series are those are the pieces of art.
Yep.
That are based off of the video game.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Pieces of art that are also based off of the comic book.
Yeah.
We also have a trading card game that's about to come out. It's a head-to-head trading card game that's a little bit different. A lot of times in the trading card game market right now, people are going with the Magic the Gathering style where you're playing, one monster versus another monster, or building an army, or potentially building a hero and then kind of equipping your hero in order to battle head-to-head.
Yeah.
Our trading card game actually puts you side by side in a race to the finish line.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to reveal too much information on that, but yeah, we got some really cool stuff that's going on with this franchise.
Cool. Wow, that sounds really cool. We'll have to talk about that more. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Were you trying to look it up, Vic?
Yeah. Do you have anything on YouTube or?
Yeah, we absolutely do. So we have removethisgame.com. As well, I wonder if you put in remove this. Let's see what happens. Remove this crypto. Yeah, I wonder what happens. Looks like they didn't get us on that one.
Nothing.
Nope. Let's go. Let's go. Can you pull up the regular internet on that bad boy?
No, we haven't set that up.
Okay, that's fine. You can type in Kudoken. K-U.
K-U.
D-O.
D-O.
K-E-N.
K-E-N. Okay. There you are.
There we are. Go ahead and scroll over. Let's see what we got on here. Oh, so it looks like this is actually one of our group members, Kudoken. This is Way High, one of our big supporters. And he's just showing different ways to purchase the Kudoken and do things like that. We should have another channel on there.
Is there
Try going.
one of these?
Try going to Unblocked. Let's see what Unblocked picks up.
Where?
This is Unblocked Blockchain. Oh, you have to type it in.
Blocked.
And that's spelled traditionally U-N-B-L-O-C-K-E-D. For those following along with us here.
Unlocked.
Let's see. Unblock blockchain. B-L-O-C-K. There we are. Try that one.
32 subscribers.
Boom. Go ahead and play that first one. Remove this guns and aliens.
Are we showing?
Yeah, we're showing.
So that's one of the teaser trailers that we first put out for Unblocked and for Remove This game. As you can see, that's our mining game. So we have both a single player campaign and then a top-down shooter, which is the mining campaign.
Yeah.
So what you do in the top-down shooter is it's very similar to zombies, to Call of Duty Zombies, where you're surviving waves of aliens that are coming at you, and then they drop power-ups, guns, different things that you can get, NFTs, comic book pages for our NFT series that includes our comic book, and then also cryptocurrency. So those cryptocurrency are in the form of what we call Mars rocks or lunar rocks.
Yeah.
So there's 3 different types of lunar rocks: the Saturn, Jupiter, and then of course the Mars rock. And they're for different amounts of Kudoken. So as you're playing the game and surviving the rounds, you collect the rocks, and at the end of it, it will actually reward you in Kudoken cryptocurrency.
Nice.
You collect the Kudoken cryptocurrency, then you can go to our website, removethisgame.com, click on Kudoken rewards, and you can turn the cryptocurrency in for actual tangible video games, hardware, and the whole 9 yards.
Nice.
So we have Xbox One X's, PlayStation 5s, the brand new Valve Index handheld console, video games, headsets, mouses,
Wow.
all the different stuff.
That's cool.
In demand, rare, hot, limited edition items that you can buy with the Kudoken cryptocurrency.
And how many people are a part of this project?
So right now we have 450 supporters that have already backed the project. We went up 9,000% on our first day. And then the crypto market kind of sagged back.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've used this time as development time.
Yeah.
We're basically tripling down on everything that we were originally planning on doing. We have the Animal Sanctuary now.
Yeah.
We've got full season Blazer tickets that are 2 rows back from courtside. So we'll be giving away Blazer tickets, trips to Hawaii, video game consoles, the whole 9.
And that's all in the video game?
Yep, and that's all in the video game or by supporting our different entertainment atmospheres.
Okay.
We also have some retail stores that have already pledged to accept Kudoken inside of the retail stores.
Wow.
So one of them is Power Plant. That's one of my official sponsors, not only from Dirty Dabs and Trunk Mob, but also through the Kudoken. So you can actually go to Power Plant. You can pick up glass paraphernalia, discounts on marijuana, all sorts of different merchandise.
It's a dispensary.
Yep, all sorts of different cool stuff at the Power Plant dispensary.
Where's that?
That's located in 5 locations. Their major location, the one that I go to, is on Foster.
Okay.
They're down in the Pearl District, over in Salem.
Nice.
Yep, 5 full locations
Cool.
around the Portland metropolitan and
Nice.
Salem area.
Yeah.
Yep. We also have Bahama Boards, which is out in Seaside, out near the coast.
Yeah.
You can go there and you can rent and get a 30-minute surf lesson as well as a 2-hour board rental for a Kudoken.
For one Kudoken.
Yep, for one
Wow.
Kudoken. We have Astoria Barber Shop. You can go in there and for a Kudoken, he'll give you a haircut. All sorts of different stuff.
My buddy lives in Astoria. I'll have to tell him that.
Definitely.
How much is the game?
So the game is actually free to play. It's going to have advertisements if you use the free version.
Yeah.
If you do the paid version or whatnot, you double up the rewards that you get.
Okay.
And it's $19.99 for the original game, and then $3.99 a month
Wow.
to have the paid version.
That's super cool. We're going to have to get that set up.
My guy.
Yep.
And so right now we're pre-launch or whatnot. The only people who have been able to play the game are people with the special private code who originally donated to the Kickstarter. We did a first original Kickstarter, raised up a small nominal amount or whatnot to keep the development going. And then right now we're inside of the comic book series.
Are you doing some of the development?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Myself and also my son. My son turned 17 actually this month. Shout out my son, Jalen.
Nice.
He's one of the, not only the Discord mentor, but also does some of the programming and some of the 3D modeling.
Nice. Where do you buy the Kudoken?
You can get the Kudoken right now on Uniswap.
Uniswap.
Yep. Right now, we only have a small liquidity pool that's inside of there because we've pulled back while everything's kind of down and waiting. We've shifted over to development mode. We're going to come back out with the Matic token. So we have the Ethereum token and the Matic token. They're both at the same amount and they burn each other. So if you buy the Ethereum token, it burns some of the Matic pool. If you buy some of the Matic token, it burns some of the Ethereum. pool. If you turn the Ethereum tokens back into the reward store, then they recycle back, a portion of them recycle back into the liquidity pool.
Okay. So you have to have the Ethereum into Matic to get Kudokin?
So both of them are Kudokin. The Matic token, Ethereum has outrageous gas prices as of right now. And so we wanted to go with a layer 2 option that allowed us to be able to pass them out inside of the video game for cheap, and also allowed people to be able to swap them back and forth for cheap. So it gave basically the opportunity to do what Jesse's original plan was, which was a community token where people could barter with them.
Yeah.
So we have them both. We originally launched 1 billion of the Ethereum token. Now we've matched 1 billion of the Matic token, and then the cross burning for both sides of it.
Okay.
And so it's depending on what you're trying to do. Ethereum is the more dominant and well-developed blockchain.
Yeah.
And so the reason that we use Ethereum still primarily is for turning the tokens in. So our store is based off the Ethereum token because we have the ability through my digital wallet to be able to accept crypto payments using Ethereum.
Yeah.
Where we don't right now with the Matic token.
Interesting. Wow. I would have not guessed any of that looking at you.
My guy. My guy. I often tell people I'm smarter than I look.
No, man, you are. Like that's amazing. Like where you got all your education from PCC?
Yeah, from PCC and from the School of the Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
From the streets, man. You know, a lot of people don't put a lot of credence inside of living through it.
Yeah.
Of being there, you know, and of just having the foresight and understanding of what it means to be inside of the struggle.
Yeah.
So I wasn't born with a silver spoon, and I've managed to get myself back up to a pretty respectable living or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that came the foresight and understanding of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. That's cool.
Okay.
Congratulations on that.
My guy.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
Way to get back up and just keep us minorities striving forward.
Okay.
What are you, by the way?
So I'm part black, part white.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
On my dad's side, I'm Brazilian and African.
Awesome.
Got a little bit of a different hair texture, and not as dark as my cousins. I don't know. I've got some mulatto cousins that are pretty light skinned. But yeah.
Bird of a feather,
my mom's side is Russian and Irish and Bulgarian and a bunch of different stuff.
Nice. Yeah, on my mom's side, my dad's black. On my mom's side, and I don't know a whole lot of my heritage on that side. Just my father wasn't in my life growing up or whatnot.
Same.
And that's all. Thanks to Ronald Reagan. Hey, fuck you, you deadbeat dad asshole. I'm gonna change that, by the way. I will be running for politics here in the next 5 years or whatnot. I plan to become a congressman, and what my platform is on family law. And I'm changing things to be a little bit to relieve a little bit of pressure inside of the middle class, inside of some of the subsidies that they have built up. Ronald Reagan was responsible for some of the worst atrocities inside of legislation in my eyes, and one of them was the war on drugs. The other one's the Deadbeat Dad Act. So that's what put a lot of us not knowing our fathers right now. But on my mom's side, I got a lot of Spanish blood in me, really? Straight from Spain. Yeah. It's super cool. My great grandmother was full-blooded Spanish.
Wow. Cool. All right. Well, it's been a very interesting interview, conversation with you, and man, we got to get you back on the show
for sure.
Or I got to come over to your show. Are you still running your podcast?
Right now I am just doing Coffee and Bong Hits with Jesse, and he's doing that now just on Fridays once a month because of the animal sanctuary and how much time is independently doing stuff. Right now I just took over as the general foreman, project manager for Black Box Networking Services, out there working at the chemical factory. So honestly,
what are you guys doing out there?
We're doing telecommunications design and PLC, programmable logic controllers.
Okay.
For controlling, some of the chemicals and the different stuff that happen out there.
Okay.
What's my train of thought?
So we were talking about the podcast, me being on yours.
Yep.
But
so right now I've got so many things that are going on inside of my professional career, inside of the development of the comic book, the cryptocurrency. I've got 2 different comics that
you said you're working on law.
Yep. I'm working on law, on doing Congress, on I got my hands in a lot of fires right now.
Yeah.
So the podcast hasn't been
Yeah.
one of the ones that we're going after.
Yeah.
Um,
Like me, I'm doing a million different things.
And I'm glad you're doing the podcast. This is an awesome setup that you got right
Thank
here
you.
and a great
Yeah.
conversation that we've
It's
had,
fun.
brother. So
Yeah, appreciate it.
super cool.
We'll definitely have you on the show again after things pick back up with crypto because I want to get your thoughts again on that.
Sure.
I want to do some music with you, so
Very
we'll have more to talk about in that aspect
Let's do it,
as
brother.
well. And it was great to meet you, man.
I got
You're very interesting.
Hey, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome. Well, thanks. That was Blake, Mack, and go follow him everywhere you can on what are your platforms? You like?
So I do a lot of Instagram, OG
Instagram.
Blake Mack
Okay.
on there, as well as Kudoken Token, Kudoken Ecosystem on there. We got a Twitter that's popping off. You can find me on Facebook. You can check us out online. My websites are where you get the most money. So just in case you guys want to know, do your own thing. Don't be at the mercy of these social medias and these other conglomerates. Do your own thing. Build your own swag. Get your own following.
What's the website?
It's kudoken.io, as well as removethisgame.com.
Nice.
And game will be out, as well as we have the comic book, the first graphic novel, which contains the first 3 comic books, should be out at the beginning of the year. We should be releasing the first issue of the comic in about November, and then we'll lead up November, December, and then January, and follow it up with the graphic novel as well as a Kickstarter for the comic.
Perfect. Awesome.
My brother.
Awesome. Go follow him, everybody.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Big shout out to my brother Vic, man. Big shout out to the IBW Local 48. If you have not checked out unionism, solidarity, the labor trades, all sorts of opportunity there. You don't know what you're missing. College isn't the only route. I am college educated. I am a labor tradesman. What I can tell you is the labor trades paid me better than anything else, and they supported me through thick and thin for everything. Shout out to IBW. Shout out all labor trades. Thanks
Nice.
for having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
My guy.
Appreciate it.